Let's go to segment 3, Cedric. We're going to talk more individual players and probably going to talk about some quarterbacks too. Let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. Here we sit about 4 weeks from the Heisman Trophy ceremony, about 3 weeks from the announcement of who the finalists are. Cedric, it seems like to me there's a clear-cut number one. It looks like Joe Burrow, the LSU quarterback, has emerged as the guy after we saw Tua Tagovailoa go down with injury. Obviously, Chase Young has been serving suspension, which if you think it's right or wrong or otherwise, it's still 2 games he did not play for the Buckeyes. Jalen Hurts continues a strong campaign. But it looks to me, Cedric, like Joe Burrow is going to have to do something to lose the Heisman at this point.
Absolutely. And when he took out the Texas Longhorns, and I was like, I didn't see this guy coming. I picked Texas to beat up. Maybe I picked LSU. I don't even remember. I just remember not knowing that this quarterback was going to be great like he was. And he can make all the throws, Jen. He's a smart guy. He's confident. And I think it helps when you're talking Heisman, and we both vote. It's always good to be on the best team, and he's on one of the better teams. So it's his race to lose. I like Justin Herbert. I think Chase Young's the best football player in the country, but Chase Young's not going to win the Heisman Trophy. People aren't going to vote an edge rusher for the Heisman. He'll get some votes, but he's not going to win it. But I like Herbert, I like Burrow, and I like Young. Of those 3, it's Burrow far and away the best guy. Trevor Lawrence, disappointing year. I don't know that he's even the best player on his own team. Travis Etienne has been really good.
Yeah, I had Trevor Lawrence as my preseason pick to win the Heisman. You know, he was spectacular in that national championship game and really pretty good all of last year. I just thought he was going to continue to ride that wave, that crest up, and he's not been that good. He's not been that dynamic this year for Clemson. So I definitely think, Cedric, when it comes down to Heisman, I think you're looking at individuals, but I think what you said about team success, especially as it relates to quarterbacks, you know, those guys have such a big part of their team's success, how they handle it, how they direct it. I think you can't help but look at a record. It may not sway you 100%, you know, if somebody just doesn't have a very good defense, or you know, they're not helped by some things along the way. You can overlook that to a point. But I think the thing with quarterbacks is the really good ones tend to win a decent amount of games. So that holds, in my mind, holds some weight when it comes to Heisman voting. Question I have, you know, you bring up Chase Young, the defensive end. You know, around here, there's a lot of talk about Chuba Hubbard, the Oklahoma State running back, and whether he can not win the thing. I don't necessarily know if anybody's talking about winning it, but can he be a finalist? Cedric, he's got a chance to rush for over 2,000 yards in the regular season. That's something we haven't seen even some of the best running backs over the last 5 to 10 years do. It seems like there's maybe a little bit of momentum behind him to potentially be a Heisman finalist, but you know, it's interesting. There's no set number of finalists that go to New York. Some years it's 3, 4, 5. It's not really consistent. So whether he can get there or not, I think he's fighting an uphill battle, but he continues to have some pretty good games, some pretty good momentum.
I love me some Chuba. I mean, he was great against Texas, and if he blows up in Bedlam and runs for 150 to 200, he'll get some notice. But it just feels like a 3-dog race to me, and I think they just kind of look at where the votes are, and if there's a big disparity between 3 and 4 and 4 and 5. They save that money. They don't put any pretenses about it. I hope Chase Young gets some votes, but I'm not sure that he will. I know that Burrow's going to be there, and I know that Justin Herbert's going to be there, but I think that Chase Young should get in there. It's largely a regional vote, so Trevor Lawrence is going to get some love, even though he probably doesn't deserve it. Justin Fields, Ohio State quarterback, has been electric this year, and people are overlooking him. I think he might sneak in there and get one of those spots.
Yeah, and you know, I think Jalen Hurts is, there's some straw polling out there that says he might be the number 2 guy among Heisman voters right now. Obviously, his role in what Oklahoma did at Baylor was big. I think he needs to continue to have big numbers, which he's had all year, and if Oklahoma can win out, that'll make a strong case for Jalen Hurts to be in New York. And remember this, too. Somebody was reminding me of this, and, you think about where we are right now, and it seems like, of course, Joe Burrow is going to win this award. Of course, it's going to happen that way. A year ago, it was that championship weekend, that championship Saturday, when Tua gets a little bit injured, he's ineffective. Hurts actually at Alabama at the time comes in, rallies them to victory in the SEC championship game. But then Kyler Murray with a huge game in the Big 12 championship game. Cedric, you and I were there, and he overtakes Tua in the voting. It came down to that last weekend, those last games. Maybe it happens again, but it just feels like Joe Burrow has a really commanding lead right now.
He's going to go wire to wire. He was great from jump.
Yeah.
And he hasn't slipped. And his team might win a national championship. And I just think that he has just had the most comprehensive senior season of any of these guys. And I love Jalen Hurts too. And he's thrown a couple of picks, but I think that he's probably the best feel-good story, considering he lost his job through no fault of his own in Alabama. So I think that's a great story to tell on Heisman finalist day. So I'm hoping Jalen gets there. Maybe he'll say more than 2 words. I mean, he hasn't changed his demeanor ever since he arrived in Norman. And Holly Rowe was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get you to smile here, Jalen. Can I get you to smile?" He just wasn't breaking character. I like that about him, though.
Yeah. Good stories and good seasons definitely are a good combination. And I'm like you, Cedric, though. Joe Burrow was nowhere on my Heisman radar when the season started, so that alone makes him a pretty interesting story. I had no idea he was going to emerge the way he has. We'll continue to monitor that. We'll probably talk about it again here in the next couple weeks as the season comes to a close in college football. I can't believe it's that time of year, but here we are. Lots of football. We'll talk about it again next week on the Writer's Block. We'll be here. We hope you join us too.